Hello, folks. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, one and all, to the stream. Welcome back. How's everybody doing tonight? How is everyone doing tonight? It is Wednesday night. It is Wednesday. I don't even know what the date is, and I probably have it somewhere that's easy to find. Welcome, everybody, to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. Tonight we are talking about a very, very dear subject of mine, and I'm so happy I could share it with all of you. We're talking about villains. All villains, all the time. It is going to be K-Gun. What's going on, dude? What is up? It's going to be a fun stream tonight. Thanks to BioSaber, my Discord is up, and we're good to go. We are definitely good to go with using that. So for the viewer's choice, I'm gonna try to bring in. It might not happen every time, but I'm gonna definitely try to bring in someone, one of you, one of my wonderful viewers, to discuss a little bit of the topic for the evening. Again, for those of you who are new to the stream or watched way back and are just coming back again, we kind of left the TV thing a little bit just because trying to watch episodes and trying to talk about episodes close to when they were coming out, it was getting a little hard. Like for instance, Game of Thrones, the season premiere came out this past Sunday. Not everyone's probably seen it yet. So why would I talk about it tonight in order to get you guys excited for it when, like, if you haven't watched it? Then I have to worry about spoilers, and then I have to get people to go to my YouTube, and it's this whole thing. So we decided, a whole bunch of us decided that maybe it would just be easier if I just talk about different topics. And then when things come out, maybe do like a lead into it. So this week, since nothing really is coming out and Game of Thrones came out and the season premiere was pretty good. It was a season premiere. The subject matter was basically, where is everybody... where is everyone since the season finale last year? So that's pretty much it. I have a tag like poking me in the back. There it is. There we go. So tonight, villains. We're gonna start off with actually a different type of thing, and I hope you guys enjoy it because then we could do maybe more of this kind of stuff. But tonight, I want to start off talking about my top 5 villains. So these are villains that I chose that I think are some of the best villains in TV, in movies, just all around. Just the guys that have always gotten me to, always get me excited. Now, I love villains compared to their superhero counterparts, only because villains show more of a human emotion, and they have that more humanistic theme to their storyline, to their personalities. They a lot of the things that drive them to become the evil people they are mostly sought as more humanistic type of, and I mean, I'm not even sure if humanistic is a word. It most likely is not. So for all you English majors or teachers or anything out there, don't quote me. But yeah, so villains always have a real human emotional feeling that pushes them to do the bad things they do. So I resonate with villains a lot more, a lot better than some of their superhero counterparts. Like, Superman is is an alien from another world, and he has to pretend he has to hide himself. I mean, don't hide yourself. That's just uncool. But so why don't we kind of get into it? So we're gonna go from number 5 down to number 1 because that's the only way to really do a top 5, is there? Like, I don't understand people who start from number 1 and go up. I mean, people usually do number 5 and stuff like that. But anyway, why don't we go down? So at number 5, if I can just, hello? There we go. At number 5, there's actually 2 people because I really couldn't get them to, like, I was thinking of a great number 5, and then I thought of a really good one as I was setting up tonight, but I already had these made. So I did 2 people, and the reason why they're number 5 right now is because they're kind of new to the to my to my very closed vision of everything. And that is Wilson Fisk and Kilgrave, both from the Netflix series of Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Wilson Fisk was played by Vincent D'Onofrio, and Kilgrave was masterfully played by Dave Tennant. Now, Dave Tennant already played Doctor Who in the series Doctor Who. And Vincent D'Onofrio is from Law and Order. I don't know if it was SVU or whatever unit, but it was one of the Law and Order shows, just not the original. So Wilson Fisk is also known as the Kingpin. Now, I've watched the Spider-Man comics. I saw Daredevil the movie, and Kingpin has always been portrayed as this huge mob boss and kind of in the shadows, but not necessarily not necessarily the Carmine Falcone where everybody knows he's a mob boss. Definitely plays his cards close to the chest. The way that Vincent D'Onofrio was playing this Wilson Fisk in the Netflix Daredevil universe was even more mysterious. If I remember correctly, you don't really meet him, or that he's Wilson Fisk, or you don't really see him about till like the 3rd or 4th episode. Like, his whole operation was done without him really doing much, and it was so masterfully done as to show a man who had such a strange childhood could come up and become this intricate businessman with, hey, Daft Haru, how are you? This intricate businessman, but also this brutal kingpin. And not strictly TV villains, K-Gun. Not strictly TV villains. These guys are new. So his Kingpin seemed to me a bit more methodical in his steps, more so of playing in the shadows and taking that mystery as to what happened to him in the past and pushing forth that mystery and making sure that his shadows are seen before he is. That way he has enough time to run, walk away, whatever he needs to do. So that was the way that Vincent D'Onofrio played Wilson Fisk, and I loved it so much. I thought it was one of the best villains that we have seen in television in a long time. Then they released Jessica Jones, and again we were stuck with this mysterious name, Kilgrave, and they almost did the same sort of thing where they kept him a mystery, kept it a mystery. You heard his name all these times between the many interactions between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and some of the other cohorts that she had been involved in, and he was this mysterious guy. But now with the introduction of the supers or the specials, or the enhanced, that was the word I was looking for the other night. The enhanced, that Marvel has adopted, since they can't use their own words, mutants. Kilgrave was definitely a great villain introduction into the enhanced world of Marvel, and really being able to show that whatchamacallit, that these enhanced beings, these enhanced humans are out there. And in fact that there are some that use their powers for good, and there are some out there that definitely use their powers for bad. And Kilgrave's masterful whatchamacallit, his masterful powers, I guess if you want to call them, or his enhanced abilities, was he can manipulate anyone just by talking to them. And he could, it was more of like a mind control type thing, where he could tell you, I think you want to cross the street. And all of a sudden you just sit there and go, all right, like in your mind, you're like, all right, I'm going to cross the street. And you start walking. That was the sort of thing. But if he was in a room filled with, like, in an art gallery or a museum or a movie theater or something like that, and he whispered, you have to go to the bathroom, or you're going to pee your pants, for instance, everyone in the room would not pee their pants unless he wanted them to. Or he could just direct it to one person, and there would be one person having an accident while the rest of the people either A, enjoy themselves in the museum, or B, notice that some guy is having an accident in his pants. So that power is pretty darn cool, because it's basically the power of coercion wrapped up into a sort of mind control, a sort of a mind control atmosphere. So it really, really does put forth the ability of taking someone's own self thought and self righteousness to do anything, and completely demolishes that. And the way David Tennant played it was just so methodical and so, at first, mysterious. However, it was more of a direct, I'm gonna play on your emotions type thing, where when he's going up against Jessica Jones, because Jessica Jones is obviously the one woman that he fell in love with, or he was infatuated with, and it is almost like body control. It's Jessica Jones was his counterpart so much that he did fall in love with her. And he said that, I can't control you because I love you too much, or I have these strong feelings towards you. And it's at some point you kind of sit there and you're like, really? Are you really not controlling her because you love her, or are you just saying it? Like, it got so mysterious with him. And they really picked him well. Both characters they picked very well. And with this whole sort of realistic feeling, this more practical feeling of Jessica Jones and Daredevil through the Netflix universe, it really, it was refreshing to see these characters played by regular beings. Now, I don't know what David Tennant looked like or what Kilgrave looks like in the Jessica Jones comics, or anything else. Excuse me. Anything else that might show them as a as a different, in a different medium. However, uh, I'm more on the gray line, so I won't have a lot to say for this episode. Oh, it's all good. It's all good, Daft. Don't worry about it. Um, so, but Will's the Kingpin character is meant to be an oversized person. Picture what Bane is supposed to be like. However, instead of being all muscular and completely ripped and looking like an uncanny wrestler, Wilson Kingpin is supposed to be this massively large body, whatchamacallit, like fat guy kind of thing, and uses his body mass to go against people. Vincent D'Onofrio was not that, did not grow that large. Yeah, he probably gained a little bit of weight to show his massive size compared to that of Charlie Cox, who plays Matt Murdock / Daredevil. However, the sheer mass of Wilson Fisk is definitely like comparative and more of a practical, realistic type character in this series, which makes it absolutely amazing. So yeah, so those are my number 5. And again, the only real reason that they're number 5 is because we've only seen them in about 1 to 2 seasons each, and their characters have yet to grow. I mean, we did get to see a little bit more of Wilson Fisk in season 2 of Daredevil, but again, it was more of that playing in the shadows type thing while he was in prison. So that I can't wait to see more of either of them. It should be a dar tootin' hoot, if you ask me. All right, so let's go to number 4. Number 4 is actually not necessarily a TV villain. All right, Kagan? Not a TV villain. It's Captain Hook. Now, we've seen Captain Hook's. Captain Hook is currently being played and is currently being used in Once Upon a Time. However, he's starting to come around. He's starting to become a hero type thing. But I'm talking about the original Captain Hooks, the one from the Peter Pan storyline, the one from the original Peter Pan, the long-haired cranky pirate. Killian Jones. Hopefully, was there? I haven't watched Once Upon a Time. We've fallen behind on Once Upon a Time because of everything that's been going on. I'll talk about that towards the end of the show. But the Captain Hook that I know and love is ruthless. Captain Jack Sparrow is Johnny Depp, not Captain Hook. Not Captain Hook. Now, the Captain Hook I have here is the Dustin Hoffman version from the movie Hook. Probably one of my favorite. I know. Probably my absolute favorite version of Captain Hook over Killian Jones. I have to say, I can watch Hook as every day, probably once a day, and then I would be an absolute just a happy camper. I love this Captain Hook, and the Captain Hook that was originally written for the Peter Pan stories was actually supposed to be a symbolism for an adult growing up in Neverland. Now, Peter Pan, we all knew, was the boy who never grew up, and Neverland helped you not grow up. And the Lost Boys were another example of that. However, they always fought against Captain Hook because Captain Hook was meant to be sort of a loose symbolism as to becoming an adult in Neverland. And of course, there's the epic battle exactly, Daft Haru. So the Captain Hook from Hook is the one that you see to be most realistic. I do it in the storybook kind of realm type thing, type of atmosphere. Now, Peter Pan, there was that famous battle where Peter Pan chops off uh, the captain's hand, feeds it to the crocodile, and gets, he gets the hook, in which why he's called Captain Hook. But it's just, especially in the movie Hook, it's the epic battle between Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams, rest in peace, was just so much more than your usual Peter Pan Captain Hook story. It had emotion. It had the entrance of family. It had the absolute um, the absolute feeling that this could be the one time where Captain Hook prevails, and becoming an adult is actually the best thing to do in this sort of atmosphere. Um, and it was just it the movie itself was absolute was just so comforting and so well thought out in as sort of an unrequested sequel of um of whatchamacallit, of this the series. And it was a very welcomed sequel as well. I mean, could there be any better way to show off the newly grown up Peter Pan versus the Captain Hook who still wants to bring him down and prove to him that being an adult is not always fun and games. I mean, what kind of character, like here you have this character who never wants to grow up, always wants to be a kid, and everybody feels like that. Like, I don't want to do adult things. I don't want to pay bills. I don't want to pay my apartment rent. I don't, I don't want to have to make phone calls or go on job interviews or anything like that. I don't want to adult. I want to stream all the time. I want to talk about all the like wonderful things that make me feel like a kid. I want to play video games. I want to watch TV till I can't watch anymore. I want to eat ice cream until I puke ice cream. I want to be a kid. But there's always that annoying hook or that annoying sort of feeling in your gut where you have to say, well, being a grown up is quite frankly part of growing up. And the way Dustin Hoffman brings that out in Captain Hook is actually a great iteration of the character. And the original story of Peter Pan, the original Disney movie, and the many forms of the original story of Peter Pan is a great is a great whatchamacallit is just a great story altogether. I mean, it's if and when I ever decide to have kids, that Peter Pan will probably be one of the more heard of stories that I'll at least tell. I mean, I don't know what what the wife will tell, but as far as I go, Peter Pan is a story that will resonate. Is one of my favorite Disney stories, and I just love Captain Hook. In fact, if you saw my tweets today with the Captain Hook in the parade, I thought that was awesome. I better than all the other villain things that I put up there. I thought that was awesome, and I think what Captain Hook really means to me is he was probably the first like villain that as a kid I was like, ooh, Captain Hook. And this Dustin Hoffman version really put me over the edge. So that's number 4. Why don't we get to number 3? Now I see Daff and K-Gun are having a lot of fun in chat trying to figure out who's in there or who's number 1 or something like that. There's going to be a couple surprises. I'm sure there's going to be a couple surprises in there for you, including this next one, because I have not mentioned this one at all. No, I probably mentioned it a little bit, but let's Let's take a look. Number 3 is not loading. Thank you very much, stream. Thank you. Hello? Hello, stream? Hello? There we go. Number 3, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Dr. Lecter, for those of you who are not familiar with his stuff, is most known for his from the Thomas Harris books, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and his newest one, which was actually a prequel to all of those, Hannibal Rising. Dr. Hannibal Lecter is a wonderfully, wonderfully complicated character. His demeanor, if you were to meet him on the street, or if you were to meet him in a museum or a movie theater, I don't know why I keep going back to museums or movie theaters. I just think that they're actually whatchamacallit, public places that people actually show up to. You would never think twice that he is one of the most notorious serial killers throughout history. The man is methodical. The man is maniacal. The man is psychotic. However, I almost want to say it's all within reason. This man has been through, as far as the character goes, this man has been put through all sorts of psychological hell in order to get him to the serial killer Hannibal Lecter that we all know and love. This Dr. Lecter is a survivor and of the Holocaust. All right, just make sure it's not what he eats, Daff. So the instance of it is that he survived. However, the soldiers in which he was first captured by had decided to pull the ultimate and unfortunately kill his sister in front of him. Now, he was a bit of a teenager at this time, but again, at a very impressionable age. Now, for those of you a little queasy with some details, the way they did it was they killed his sister and they ate her in front of him and forced him to eat her as well. Sorry again for the queasiness, but that is the story. So Dr. Lecter decides that, all bad men must go away, according to him. Now, between the time that he witnessed his sister dying and he started his spree, or he started his reign of terror, if you would, he came under the wing of a woman who taught him some of the finer things in life. Really was able to bring himself up from a nosy little rat teenager type character and bring him into the top 1%, as we call them in America. Very rich, very how to do, can move about other rich and other higher source people in order to sort of mask his actual animosity within inside him. Now, for years, he had been on a killing spree. However, people would never know it's him because he put on such a great show. And the way he picked out his victims were those who were usually people who were rude. And I I don't mean, someone blabbering too loud on their phones in the on the sidewalk or something like that. Someone that would take his high stance of higher guard and really mess it up. So, for one instance, before he was caught, he was in um, he was at a an orchestra, a orchestral show, and one of the violins was slightly out of tune, and he noticed it, and it annoyed him the entire night. So killed that guy and served the violinist to the committee, to the committee of patrons to the orchestra. So all the top 1% people that donate all the money to the local orchestra to make sure that they keep going, yeah, they ate their own violinist. And again, because he had this training of the finer things, he knew how to cook really well. I'm not sure if you guys saw the Hannibal the series, but Mads Mikkelsen, like the some of the cooking that he did with some of his own victims in that show, I gotta say, it got me hungry. Even though you sat there and you're like, oh, that is someone's heart that he's roasting right now. You just sat there, you're like, all right, if I maybe exchange the heart for something like, I don't know, chicken, would it taste just as good? I mean, I'm not going out to go get a heart. However, I'll put chicken in the dish and we could go from there and eat it. Why not? Why not? I mean, come on. You only live once, right? YOLO. So, again, the finer things in life were what he was putting forth. And then even when he was caught, he was placed in a psychiatric ward, placed behind a plastic shield rather than your regular bars because he could reach through the bars and still kill people. He broke some of the orderlies' noses and stuff like that, all these types of things. But he was methodical, he was maniacal, and he's a straight up psychopath. But he has the presence of a worldly scholar, incredibly smart. Took him, brought himself through colleges, was able to get his master's, doctorates in a multitude of various subjects. So the man was not only a genius in the way of how he would kill or how he would cause psychological defamation on people. He was very methodical in the sense of how to live about this cruel world that he was living in, and certainly did not trust anyone. In fact, he would probably trust other serial killers before he trusted a full-blown law-abiding citizen. So the real story behind Dr. Lecter is he's a worldly scholar who just likes to eat people. Hence the nickname Hannibal the Cannibal, which I did not coin. So, Hannibal the Cannibal TM. I guess that since other people are involved in. But yeah. So that was my number 3. Again, Dr. Lecter, although very, very psychotic and very, very maniacal. I like saying that word maniacal. I'll probably be saying it for a couple of other people too. He was a gentleman, and he was super intelligent, and was able to. Ooh, we dropping frames here? Everything all right with the stream, guys? Everything okay? All right. Let me know if everything's all right. So yeah, so we this is the Hannibal Lecter that everybody is scared of. But at the same time, some people are sitting there like, well, we really could get into this guy. Um, so yeah, thanks, Steph. Yeah, no, it's showing a couple drop frames, but nothing too big. All right, number two. Now, number two, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Number two. That's right. Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader. Now, I put the two of them together. One, because they are the same person. And let's not even get to the fact that Hayden Christensen played Anakin Skywalker. We're not going to get into the details as to casting with this one, because it's not the actors that really made the character. Although James Earl Jones' voice is, I don't think I would be able to hear anyone else's voice do Darth Vader after just hearing James Earl Jones. Like, even if someone else came in, I would have been like, nah, we're good. But the character of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader is one for the books. Yeah, you did call it, Daff. I mean, I try to keep things as transparent as possible for you guys and girls, because I want you guys to really feel it. But anyway, the story of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader is, quite honestly, is truthfully a love story. That's basically it. This whole thing is a love story. So, someone so evil and so feared throughout the universe or throughout the galaxy is mainly based off of a love story. That's pretty much what and we saw the love story, even though they were never really meant to be. Like, I mean, again, the whole casting thing really hurt this thing, but it was meant to be a full-on love story between Ghost Sniper. What's going on, man? It was almost supposed to be a love story between Anakin and Queen Amidala. Now, because of this love story and how it fell so hard in real life, they the emotional breakdown and the absolute anger that became Darth Vader is seriously one for the books. Here you have a man who is just waiting for the love of his life, as he's near, like, the reason why he stayed alive so long after being burned by the lava at Mustafar is because of his love for Padme. However, what ultimately killed her was her love for Anakin, and how the man she fell in love with was no longer there. The man she fell in love with was not Darth Vader, obviously. It was Anakin Skywalker. Therefore, and then the whole time, the whole time that Anakin was being trained and and from the moment he was discovered by Qui-Gon Jinn, was meant to be told to bring balance to the Force, to make sure that the Force, that the Jedi and the Sith were completely balanced in an all-out war that would always keep each side in check. And ultimately, he did that. If you look at the numbers, if you really look at the numbers that were presented to us as viewers, there were so many people that were Jedis. There were so many Jedis. Look at during Attack of the Clones, when the rescue operation happened at the very end in Geonosis. Look at all those Jedi out there. Meanwhile, all you had was Count Dooku and Darth Sidious. Those were the only two Sith against all those Jedis. And then, of course, the other Jedis that were not present because they were still in training and they were still younglings. Now, I'm not going to condone his killing of the younglings because that was just bad. That was just bad mojo. But again, from a numbers game, he did what the prophecy had told. Obviously, the prophecy was meant to be looked at through the eyes of, through the fact or the eyes of whatchamacallit, of the Jedi, that he was meant to maybe destroy the Sith, but that wouldn't make it balanced. The Force would not be balanced. The Yin would overtake the Yang, or the Yang would overtake the Yin. I mean, I don't know Buddhism that well, or Zen or anything like that, but that's, that's what he did. He evened up the scores. And I'm not condoning what he did. It's just that's how he did it. But he did it all for love. He was told that he could save Padmé's life if he did this. That his visions of Padmé dying, or Queen Amidala or Padmé, whatever you want to call her, the visions that he was having can be stopped if he just does what he needs to do. I mean, yeah, he was being blackmailed into doing horrible things. However, his heart was meant to be in the right place. He was just being brainwashed by someone more powerful and more manipulative than him. And thus forth, he committed heinous acts against against his former friends and his former, and the ones that he was meant to be allies with. But it was all for love. And this human characteristic is that we will do anything for the ones we love, whether it's family members, whether it's spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, fiancés, wife-to-bes, hubby-to-bes, wives, husbands. We will do anything for love. Unless you're Meatloaf, then you will do anything for love, but you won't do that. So, this character of Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker was put through so much. Even in the Clone Wars cartoons, when he had to go through the final trials to go from Jedi, from a Padawan to a Jedi Knight. He had visions of Padmé. He had visions of the one he loved. And that is, that is the true heart of Darth Vader. And even when he fully took on the mechanical the mechanical being of Darth Vader of episodes 4, 5, and 6, once he found out Luke Skywalker and Leia were alive and his kids, he wanted nothing but to protect them. He wanted Luke to join him and destroy the Emperor, because for all this time, the Emperor was the reason why Padmé died. I mean, physically, yes, Anakin was the one who killed Padmé, but in his mind, deep down, he knew that it was the Emperor's bidding that killed Padmé. And the whole episode 1 through 6 saga was basically Anakin becoming Darth Vader and Darth Vader seeking his revenge for the death of Padmé. And of course, the trials and tribulations he went through, both as a Jedi, as a Padawan to a Jedi Knight, to becoming a Sith Lord, and then becoming the most feared figure in the galaxy. again, he wasn't the brains behind the operation of the Empire. He was the ferocious beast uh, on a leash that was occasionally let off the leash and would do it nothing. If you want, I really do suggest reading the Darth Vader comics that have started coming out from Marvel, because you really do get to see the more emotional side of Darth Vader prior to Episode 4. Between, right when, or no, after, it's after Episode 4, because what he's doing is he's trying to make up for the fact that the Death Star had been destroyed. So it was after the first Death Star was destroyed. It's this telling of Darth Vader. It's a really good series. Again, I don't really read that many comics, but if it's a Star Wars comic, I'm all in. Yeah, so at Daftaru, episodes 1 through 6, The Life and Death of Anakin. Episodes 7 through 9, The Legacy. And you see that in Kylo Ren, who is, not really mentioned. This guy is, I should put him, he's not in it. Hello. He's not part of, he's in my top 10. I'd love to see a little bit more, but he's definitely in my top 10. So yeah. So with that being said, why don't we go for numero uno? The number one villain on my top 5 villains. I don't want to say of all time, because it's always going to change, because they're going to come up with new villains and new iterations. But number one is, I don't have a drum roll. That is sad. I mean, come on. Anyone who knows me knows that this was it. Number one is the Joker. I mean, come on. Anyone who knows me, obviously the Joker's number one. Now, I want you to take note, though, as to how I did the Jokers, because I said, not all of them were about castings and stuff like that. However, this one is all about the castings. As you can see, I have one TV and then 3 movies, 3 different movies and a TV one. The Joker is quite possibly, in my opinion, the best written and portrayed villain of all time. Because of how versatile the Joker can be played. Now, back in the 1960s version, I know I didn't put that. I didn't put the original one. I also didn't put the cartoon ones or the video game ones. So that's to be fair. Back in the 1960s Batman TV show with Adam West, and the Joker was played by Cesar Romero. And his Joker was the laughable, comedic, yet awe-inspiring, Joker. He was the one who laid the groundwork for a maniacal, yet funny character. That all of his antics were were all put together with a joke at the end of it, or with like a little bit of humor added to it. And that was the 1960s one. Cesar Romero really laid down the groundwork, and really was able to translate well the Joker character from the Detective Comics from Batman and everything, and really bring out the humor as well as showing that he, um, that he's got nothing to lose and he's gonna take everyone out and all that kind of stuff. That was the Cesar Romero one. That's why I really don't have him. I haven't seen as much of him. I would love to watch more. That might, I might buy it one. I'll probably buy the whole series one day or something like that. But the reason why I have these four up here is because each of the four Jokers shown here, or Joker types, are exactly that. They are four different versions based off of Cesar Romero's original groundwork, and that's why I don't have Cesar's picture up here, because I don't want to focus on him because he's the original. I want to focus on these four guys and what different characteristic of the Joker they brought out, or they put in the limelight a little more than the other groundworking areas. So why don't we go in order? I didn't necessarily do that with the pictures, but I figured, why don't we just go in order? So we'll go in order from, I guess, oldest to newest, because we have yet to see what Jared Leto is going to do, but that will be based off of the trailers. So Jack Nicholson, which is this one right here. Jack Nicholson played more of the connected Joker. Now, I forgot what his name was before he became the Joker. However, his character was always connected to the mob. In fact, in Tim Burton's Batman, which showcases Jack Nicholson as the Joker, Jack Nicholson was the one who ultimately killed Bruce Wayne's parents all those years ago. He was this no good, rotten, mafioso. He ran with the mob. He was a connected man, and that was his kind of his niche in the criminal world. And yeah, he was ruthless. He was, he was less of a Jake Napier. Thank you very much, Daff. He was psychotic. However, because he was built into a larger organization, he really took orders from other people. Didn't like it, but he took orders from other people until he fell in the chemical vat and became the Joker. Then it was basically, he took orders from himself. But still, he had that sort of leashed personality where he had to be, maniacal. He had the chance to be maniacal, but it was very organized. It fit the sort of organized crime category. And I think that's what Tim Burton was really trying to go to, was that the collaboration of an organized criminal unit is really what helps run the underworld of Gotham. It really does. It was working in Gotham. However, the leader of this underworld needed to change, and he was the one to do it. And his Joker had a bit of panache, and again had some funny jokes, and the flower that spat acid. The whole scene where he's in the museum and he brought what's her face to the museum for a date, and they're changing all the paintings around while listening to music and all the jokes and stuff. And of course, the famous one-liner he said before he killed all of his victims, ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. I mean, how creepy and maniacal is that? It's just wonderful. However, again, he was organized. He was the picture of a Joker in the mafia world. If in this day and age, or if in this real life scenario, if Jack Nicholson were to become the Joker, we wouldn't really see him nowadays. We would see him probably in like the 1960s, 70s, or 80s, when organized crime, the mob, was really, really put forth. And that's, again, that's the sign of the times. That was the type of Joker that Tim Burton and the writers of the 1989 Batman was going for. The organized crime and the gangster. I mean, I'm going off the pictures that people post. There's plenty of pictures all over the internet of like each one-worded explanation as to which each of the Jokers are, and that's probably what I'll say towards the end. So, Jake Napier became the gangster Joker. So fast forwarded a couple years to 2008, and we have the release of Christopher Nolan's second movie in a trilogy, The Dark Knight. Now, The Dark Knight was a masterpiece in itself. In fact, I'm a huge fan of the Dark Knight series. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. This series, this trilogy, was able to bring that actual and practical sort of characteristic to a comic book movie, and it was set in a much darker tone, not Tim Burton dark, but again a practical dark tone. And Christian Bale's Batman had to worry about how he would move his head in his costume. Tom Hardy's Bane was not this chemically induced psychopath. He was more of the methodical. I don't want to say the word, but he was a terrorist of sorts, using the mass using mass hysteria as his weapon, using the people of Gotham as his mass weapon. And here we have Heath Ledger's Joker. And that is, hold on, I'm going to try to fit it. That is this one. Wait. That's this one. Heath Ledger's Joker is this guy, right on top of Jack Nicholson. Now, Heath Ledger's Joker is one for the books. I mean, to date, it's my absolute favorite Joker of all time. Barely beating out that of Mark Hamill's Joker from the Arkham video game series, but we'll have to see, because the Mark Hamill is reprising his voice role as the Joker in The Killing Joke, and after watching that trailer this morning, holy crap! So Heath Ledger's Joker was just plain crazy. He was a man who came out and he had a plan, and his plan was, I don't have a plan. That's what his plan was. His plan put forth was, I don't really have a plan. It's so exactly, Kagon. That's the best way to describe him. I hate using that word, but that's the best way to describe Tom Hardy's Bane. Heath Ledger's Joker was meant to take this city that had seen a new light, obviously, with the reimagining of Batman, or with the welcoming of Batman as this vigilante, with this vigilante who's tearing down all the crime, as much of the crime as he can. In comes this psycho, almost, who is who's here to basically stir the pot. And in his famous monologue, as he's describing what he does to a broken down Harvey Dent slash transitioning to Two-Face, you know, um, he's not a man with a plan. He just does things. You know, he best describes it as he's a dog chasing a postman. He wouldn't know what to do with it. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I got my hands on it. You know, he just does what he feels is necessary. And the mystery behind him. You know, we got two different stories as to how he got the scars on his face. They always want, and the one major thing about the Joker character as a whole is that nobody ever knows who he is or how he came to be. I mean, in the comics, in the Killing Joke, you saw that story of how he was the Red Hood and was thrown into a vat of chemicals, and he was a failed comedian and all this kind of stuff. But the Joker, the Joker character himself is a mystery. And it wasn't until recently that DC, in their new ventures of comics, because the new 52 is not working out, they decided that they're going to finally reveal the true history of the Joker. And I have to tell you, as a true fan of the character, I don't think you should do that, especially when it's one of the driving forces behind the character is the mystery of his origins. Why would you take that away from people? Nobody's sitting there and saying with absolute certainty that they want to know the origin. It's not that they don't care, they do, but they just care so much about what he's going to do to Gotham now that he's arrived. And that's how Heath Ledger played it. My past means nothing because here I am. I'm in Gotham now, and I'm causing this huge ruckus. I am taking down the mob while I'm also trying to become, while I'm also trying to show you that this White Knight, this Batman figure, is not all he's cracked up to be. That is the way Heath Ledger was playing this Joker. That was this Joker. And again, the way that Christopher and Jonathan Nolan brought about the Dark Knight series was this practical feeling. Could Gotham City really be like this? Yes, it can. There can be a truck with a prison transport going through the streets of a major city, and an 18-wheeler pulls up next to him, and the door opens up and there's bombs and explosions going off. I mean, yeah, it doesn't happen in all these cities, but it very well could be. He's not using some sort of weird ray gun or mythical powers or something like that. He's not erecting a giant clown or a giant penguin in the middle of Gotham City to explode and release this deadly toxins. He's using old school anarchist type materials. And that's who he was. It's people I know tend to always say the Joker doesn't have a plan because the Joker doesn't have a plan, yet his plan is always because he, again, it's not that he doesn't care or he doesn't give a hoot. It's more of the fact that the plans and the details don't matter to him and shouldn't matter to you. All that's going to happen is what's going to happen next. And that's how the Joker pretty much sees everything. Is why should I sit here and explain my grandiose plan when I could just push it forward? Now, we did see towards the end of The Dark Knight that he had this plan of blowing up ships and all that kind of stuff and all that fun hoo-ha and whatever. But um, the whole point of it all for him in the Dark Knight series especially is to inherently prove that a regular human being cannot be trusted and is probably one of the worst people out there. And that was the way Heath Ledger played the Joker, the anarchist, the man who comes in, sees that this city is complacent with this vigilante going around and taking out criminals and wearing a mask, and he's stirring the pot. He's saying, you know what? We deserve to know who this White Knight is. Maybe, not with the best intentions in his mind, but definitely with some sort of intentions. And that brings us to our next Joker iteration. Now, he wasn't necessarily supposed to be the Joker, to tell you, the absolute Joker. He wasn't supposed to be that. He was meant to carry the message of the Joker, and that is this guy right here, Jerome. Jerome was played by Cameron Monaghan in the TV series Gotham. Now, at first, everybody was so super excited because look at that smile that he has. Pretty darn close to all three of them. But again, with a more realistic thing. He also fits the age group as to what the Joker might be at the time that Gotham is meant to take place. A kid almost. A little older than Bruce Wayne, because there's supposed to be that difference in age. However, not so much of a difference that by the time Bruce Wayne is old enough to don the cape and mask of Batman, Joker needs a walker to get around. No. He's only supposed to be a couple of years older. Now, with Gotham, Jerome was meant to, at first everyone, went nuts because here we have the Joker being used in Gotham. We get to see a taste, not a really taste of the origins, but we get this version of an origin story from the Joker. And again, we don't really want an origin story for the Joker. Part of the mystery of who he is not knowing where he came from. I agree with you, Ghost. Like, that's what makes me love the Joker so much, was that I don't know anything about him. However, this would, I think, if the writers and producers of Gotham had said, yes, Jerome is meant to be the Joker, the early version of the Joker, I would have absolutely sat there and said, yes, okay, perfect. I'm good with that, because Gotham is not meant to be connected to the DC cinematic universe. So, what could it be? However, in season 2 of Gotham, which is still wrapping up, however, this happened early enough so that it's not really a spoiler. In season 2 of Gotham, Jerome is released from jail and is unleashed in Gotham. Again, you see the maniacal sort of roundabouts of a Joker-type character. And then he's killed. And you sit there and you're like, what? Why did we kill him? Why? You get so angry. But then, if you watch the end of the episode, they do this long shot of Jerome on the slab in the morgue, and it's a shot being pulled away of, and he's smiling. And he's dead, but he's smiling. And then they start doing a montage of people inherently doing bad things, mugging someone, and then, a duo of guys mugging an older man. And then after they mug him and get all his money, the one guy kills the other guy. And you're sitting there and you start to see it. And now, whenever there's just these shots of Gotham, like going through the streets and stuff, like through a transition from scene to scene, you see every once in a while in the corner of your eye, you'll see the smile and the ha ha ha, which comes to show you that Jerome was just a messenger. Jerome was meant to tell Gotham, hell is coming. You know, there is a Joker type character. There that people are inherently evil. Someone like Heath Ledger's Joker is on it, you know, it's um the awakening that Gotham needs to know that it is um that it will eventually come under siege. And that's what and the this version of the Joker, or this theory that Jerome was just meant to be a messenger of the Joker, was um, is is what I feel a lot better, knowing that the guy's dead now. So knowing that he's dead, it's sad because I'd love to see what else he would do. He did a great job. However, this whole thing of this whole thing of him starting a quote unquote revolution, or the beginning of the end is happening, is definitely a thing. Cyrillical? Hey, what's going on? Cyrillical? I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. But hey, what's going on? Welcome. So now we are here to the final the final man of the hour, or hour and a half, it looks like. And that is Jared Leto. Suicide Squad comes out August 15th of this year, 2016. Jared Leto was casted as the Joker. Now, I've been doing this sort of serious talk with Jared Leto's Joker, all the time. Now, this is just purely off speculation from the 3 trailers that were released by David Ayer and the people of Warner Brothers and DC. So we don't really have much to go on with his Joker. However, I can't even say it. I can't even think straight. However, the maniacal sort of go-between for the Joker in Jared Leto's Joker it looks like it's going to be done very well. Now, we've only heard him say a couple of lines here and there. We've heard his laugh, the ah. It sounds like the Count, but we don't know how he's going to play. Now, in those one-worded descriptions of them, you have the gangster in Jack Nicholson, you have the clown in Cesar Romero, the anarchist in Heath Ledger, and the psychopath in Jared Leto, which kind of leads us to believe that this Joker is more of the hands-on, more of the I don't want to play mind games with too many people. However, I'm going to really mess you up. Even him saying, Biosaber, what's going on, man? How you doing? Even with the one line from the first trailer, oh, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to make it hurt really, really bad. That to me shows that, that to me brings out a different side of the Joker. This really brings out a different form that we haven't seen before. Someone who knows what he's doing. Oh man, I'm sorry you had a bad day, Bio. This brings out, this we might see here probably one of the like, I don't want to say worst because I don't want you to think that I'm scared of how bad he is or anything. It's not that. But one of the worst like Joker personalities that we can see. And again, I'm not saying that it's going to be terrible. I mean, we're going to see the bad of the bad. His personality is going to hank on, absolute breaking down, like a complete breakdown of um of uh of who the Joker is. Now, the last trailer showed off that, I again, not too sure if this was because how the trailer was cut, or if this was actually going to happen in the movie. But when you hear his laugh, everybody sits there and they go stark white. Well, I mean, Harley's already stark white, but they go, everyone, figuratively is like, oh, um, hey man, do whatever you need to do. It's great having you come through at all, but BioSaber, I'll talk to you soon, man. Have a good evening. Try to buck up. Sorry you had a bad day. Um, you know, I don't think the Joker is. Joker's. I don't think in this movie going to be part of this Suicide Squad. They're going to be going up against the Joker, but he'll be helping them out in their own way to help himself out. That's what I think is, that's what I feel is going to happen. Joker is ultimately going to be one of the many, probably not many, but one of the villains or one of the people that you can go up against in that they are going to go up against in Suicide Squad. And the only person that can really bring him around or really embrace him as a team member would definitely be Harley. And I mean, there's a whole backstory between the two of them. I'll discuss their relationship a little more, when we get closer to Suicide Squad, because that's that is going to be a whole stream in itself, is Suicide Squad. But I cannot wait to see Jared Leto's Joker. Again, it's going to be a lot different from that of Heath, from that of Jack, Jerome's, and from and from whatchamacallit, and from Cesar. So, but we'll delve into the Suicide Squad and also the relationship between uh, the two of them. Definitely going to be a different thing. Um, there is one of them. There was one scene in one of the earlier trailers, and I can't remember if it's the first one or the second one, but you did see like his tattoos or something. You saw one of his tattoos poking out from the jacket. So I don't know if I'm sure that's him. So yeah. Uh, so yeah, that one, that's kind of one of those things. So yeah, so that was my top 5 villains. I hope you like the list. I really, really, I didn't spend that much. I mean, I did spend a lot of time on it. These are the villains that I've grown up with, and have been around. I've read. I tell you that. Uh, I told you that I was sorry. Um, you know, these are the like I again I really don't go into I really don't delve into comics. I don't read a lot of I haven't read a lot of the comics. Um I don't read a lot of books, but these characters I've read all of their stuff. Um this is, you know, these are the characters. I've read The Killing Joke. Like all the comics that Heath Ledger and Jared Leto reported that they read to get into their respective Joker characters. You know, I was really happy to. I was really, you know, I read as well because I wanted to see, you know, where did Heath pick up this stuff. I'll probably read it again once I see Suicide Squad for like 16 different times. Um, but but yeah. But yeah, so I'm really, you know, interested you know, to see how Jared Leto takes the same thing, um, and really, um, so yeah, so I think we're gonna bring it up to our next thing, which is going to be viewers' choice. I think that's what we're gonna do. Our viewers' choice is coming up. I was gonna do a second segment of fan casting, but why don't we just put both of them together? Is that cool with you guys? Do you want to do like a villains fan cast thing? Because I would certainly love to do that. So why don't we